Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we try to make sense of the wild world of corporate filings. And today it seems like we've got a company that has got its eyes on the future, maybe a little too much. We read diving into a Form 8K from Defi Development Corp, which sounds pretty cutting edge, right? But let's see what this report actually tells us beyond the name. If you are new here and want to understand what these corporate reports really mean for the companies you might invest in or just stay informed, make sure you subscribe. And hey, we've got a growing community over on Discord, link in the description below. Come join the conversation. So, the report is dated the 16th of October 2025, and it covers events that happened on or before that date. It is essentially a current report that companies file when something significant happens that the public needs to know about. The company's stock, their common shares, are traded on the Nasdaq Stock Market LLC under the ticker symbol DFDV. For those keeping score at home, their stock has a par value of just a tiny fraction of a cent. Now this is interesting. Defi Development Corp has checked the box indicating they are an emerging growth company. This means they get some leniency on certain reporting requirements. It essentially allows them a bit more breathing room as they grow, but it also means we might not get as much detailed information as we would from a more established company. Alright, let's get to the meat of it. This section is about what is called Regulation FD disclosure. Basically, it means that any information shared here needs to be made public to everyone at the same time, preventing any one person or group from getting an unfair advantage. The main point here is that on the 16th of October 2025, the company put out a press release. The most crucial piece of information from that release is about their shares. As of the 15th of October 2025, they had a total of 28,888,078 shares floating around. Now this is where it gets a little technical, but it is important. They mention pre-funded warrants. Think of these like options that have already been paid for, essentially acting like shares. They had a bunch from a deal in August 2025 called a PIPE. Over 2.8 million of these warrants have been used up, meaning those people who held them have turned them into actual shares. But there are still nearly 3 million of these pre-funded warrants waiting to be exercised. This is a key point to understand their potential future share count. If every single one of those remaining pre-funded warrants were exercised, the total number of shares out there would jump up to about 31.9 million. This is what we call dilution. When more shares are issued, each existing share represents a smaller piece of the company. So, if you were an investor, you want to know this because your ownership percentage could shrink. Moving on, we have other events. This is where companies disclose information that doesn't fit neatly into the other categories. And what other event did they have? Another press release again on the 16th of October 2025. This one is about their holdings of Solana and Solana equivalents. Now this part is super important for anyone looking at the company's future. They include a cautionary note regarding forward-looking statements. This is a legal disclaimer that essentially says, hey, what we're saying about the future might not actually happen. They're warning you that their predictions and expectations could be wrong because of various risks and uncertainties. It is like them saying, we hope this happens, but a lot of things could go wrong, so don't hold us to it. They point you to their press release for more details on these risks. Finally, under financial statements and exhibits, they list what is attached. The big one here, Exhibit 99.1, is that press release dated the 16th of October 2025, which we've been talking about. This is where all the actual disclosure details are. They also list Exhibit 104, the cover page interactive data file, which is basically a machine-readable version of the report. And signing off on this report is Joseph Onorati, who is the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Defi Development Corp. This is his official sign, off confirming the accuracy of the information presented. So, what is the story here with Defi Development Corp? On the surface, they're repositioning themselves as a forward-thinking company, possibly involved in the crypto space given the mention of Solana. However, the core of this filing is purely about their share structure and the potential for it to change. They're retelling us they have a certain number of shares now, but if a significant number of warrants are exercised, that number will go up, meaning existing shareholders will own a smaller percentage of the company. This is a pretty common tactic, especially for companies that have raised money through these types of warrant structures. From a Warren Buffett perspective, you want to ask, what is the actual business that backs these shares? The report doesn't tell us much about their revenue, profits, or assets. It is mostly about the financing side. The fact that they're re-highlighting Solana holdings is a big clue as to their industry, but without concrete financial performance data in this specific filing, it is hard to say if they are a strong investment. The main risk here is clearly the dilution. If the company is generating strong profits or growing its business rapidly, an increase in shares can be a negative signal for existing investors. They are also an emerging growth company, which means less transparency. They are updating the market on their Solana holdings, which could mean their core business is tied to cryptocurrency, a notoriously volatile market. The opportunity, of course, lies in the success of whatever their primary business is, and if their Solana assets perform well. In conclusion, this 8K filing is less about the day-to-day operations or financial health of DeFi Development Corp, and more about their capital structure and potential share dilution. Investors should definitely look deeper into their other filings and their actual business operations to understand the real value and risk. Alright, that is our breakdown of DeFi Development Corp's latest filing. What is your take on these share structure updates and the potential for dilution? Do you think the mention of Solana points to a promising future or a risky venture? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this analysis helpful in decoding this corporate jargon, please hit that like button. It really helps us out, and of course subscribe for more deep dives into these important company reports. Don't forget to check out our Discord community linked in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.